Hi, I'm Megan. I have been a customer experience designer for over 5 years now, so I've created a bunch of different resources to try and help you with all of your customer and employee experience design work. You might have heard of customer experience, but you might have heard it called a few different names, things like human-centered design, design thinking, user experience. There's loads more. In this video, I'll be running a retrospective workshop, also known as a retro. I'll take you through the steps that I would typically go through and also give you a working example. I also have a more detailed downloadable document that you can get from Etsy. I've left the link in the description box down below. So this also includes a blank retro template that you can use and apply in your own work. Feel free to check out a bunch of my other resources on this YouTube channel and their matching packs on Etsy if you should so choose. I hope you really do get some value from this video. Let me know if you have any questions and let's get started. So firstly, what is a retro and when would you run one? So a retrospective workshop, also known as a retro, is a workshop you would run when you want to reflect on how you've been operating and working. This is usually done with a team to see how the team's been working or how the team's been working on a specific project. A retro is a very simple way at looking at what's been working well, what hasn't been working well, and what are actions and changes that you and the team need to make. You might typically see a retro in agile working environments. So cross-functional teams, they're built up of people from all different parts of the business, and it's really helpful in looking at their ways of working. You can also run retros anonymously if you're worried that people will be reluctant to give their feedback. They might fear some repercussions if they're totally honest with how they feel about working in their team or what they're working on. I haven't had this issue, but I have worked in different organizations where it is anonymous. All right, so step 1, clarify the purpose of the retro. Clarify the purpose of the retro with the person that has asked you to run this and to facilitate this. If this was your own initiative, then just make sure what the retro is actually focusing on. So what are you reflecting on? Step 2 is to run the actual retro. So run a 30-minute session with the relevant attendees. Ask each question, so what's working well, what hasn't worked well, and actions to take and changes to make, and give attendees time to fill in each as you go along. You can also do this in advance, so you can send out a link to this workshop or a link to the pack. They can fill it in beforehand, and then when you come into the retro, you just run through each of the sections and the feedback that you've gotten within each. All right, so here is a working example of a retro. Don't worry, I will zoom in on all of this in the coming pages. In this example, we have our purpose up the top. So our purpose is to retrospectively look at what we've done, how it's worked out, and what we could do to improve. For sprint number 1 of the website we've been creating to encourage people to adopt pets from pet shelters. So firstly, we run through what's working well, so what's propelling us forward, what hasn't worked well, what's preventing us from moving forward, and actions to take. What are we going to do to change things? For what's working well and what's propelling us forward, in this working example, there are answers like great communication within the team, buy-in from other parts of the business, other teams are interested in what we're doing. For what hasn't worked well, so what's preventing us from moving forward. In this particular example, we have things like there's a lot of work to get through. We need another tech resource. That's slowing us down. And finally, we've got actions to take. So what are we going to do to change? In this example, we have things like trying to get some of the other business areas to help us, see if there's budget for an additional resource from tech or in our agile squad, and take more breaks if we need to prevent burnout. And that is the end of your retro session.